Imagine this. It's March 2026. The Strait of Hormuz, the world's most critical energy artery? Well, it's just become a war zone. The conflict between the US, Israel, and Iran has just boiled over, and it slammed the door shut on a fifth of the entire world's oil supply. But here's the thing. While all eyes are on the warships, a totally different kind of war is being fought in the shadows. And you're going to want to stay till the end, because I'm going to reveal some pretty shocking things about this hidden war. All right, let's get into it.
And this is the first thing everyone sees, this number flashing on screens everywhere. Oil prices, they've skyrocketed past $110 a barrel. It's sending these violent shockwaves to the entire global economy. I mean, think about it. In the US alone, gas prices jumped 70 cents in just 10 days. So for most of us, this is a really painful economic crisis. But for one emerging superpower, this isn't just a crisis, it's a genuine threat to their national survival.
And yeah, that country is India. Just take a look at this. It lays out a massive vulnerability, plain as day. Over 80%, 80, of India's crude oil is imported. And a huge chunk of that, plus all its LPG, has to sail through that one single narrow strait that's now a conflict zone. So what happens when Hormuz is shut down? Well, India's economic engine doesn't just slow down. It's in danger of seizing up completely. And we're talking about threatening the stability of a nation with 1.4 billion people.
And this gets to the heart of that hidden war I mentioned. Sure, we're going to look at naval strategy, the warships, all the high-stakes geopolitical drama. But you have to understand, the most dangerous weapon fired in this whole conflict wasn't a missile, not even close. It was a piece of AI-generated code, a deepfake, designed for one purpose: to create absolute chaos and distract everyone from what was really happening out on the water. So let's get into the details here. What is actually happening on the water? Because this blockade, it's not just some headline on a news ticker. No, this is a hard physical reality, and the consequences are devastating, and they're unfolding by the hour. All right, let's break down the absolute chaos. It all kicked off after US strikes hit Iran's big oil terminal on Karg Island. And Tehran, they retaliated with everything they had. We're talking sophisticated acoustic sea mines just dropped into the world's busiest shipping lanes. You've got swarms of these IRGC fast attack boats harassing any tanker that even thinks about moving. And for India, this gets personal, really personal. Somewhere between 28 and 38 of its commercial ships are just stuck, stranded, with hundreds of Indian sailors caught right in the middle of it all. So what's Washington's move? Well, you've got this clear ultimatum coming from President Trump. He's basically framing this as a pay-to-play security deal. His message to the world, especially to those big energy-hungry nations in Asia, like India, China, and Japan, is incredibly blunt. He's saying, hey, you want the oil, you provide the guns. He's demanding that they send their own navies into the fight. But India's response, well, it stunned just about every international observer out there. Instead of just falling in line and joining a US-led coalition, New Delhi chose a completely different path. A third way. And this wasn't about hesitation. No, this was a move rooted in a doctrine that has shaped its foreign policy for years. It's a clear signal that India is ready to act as its own security provider in the region. Which of course brings us to the big question. Why? Why would India say no thanks to a superpower and decide to go it alone in one of the most dangerous maritime environments on the entire planet? And the answer is this concept right here: strategic autonomy. Now, this isn't just some fancy term from a textbook. Think of it as the modern version of India's classic non-alignment policy. By going in alone, India pulls off a diplomatic masterstroke. It means they can keep a direct, open line to Tehran. They can frame their warships not as part of an enemy fleet, but as a neutral force just there to protect commercial ships. See, the crucial point here isn't to escalate the conflict. The goal is to protect its own interests while keeping the door wide open for de-escalation.
And this is exactly how they're doing it. Operation Sankalp, it's this incredibly sophisticated, multi-layered defense system. So first, you've got the eyes in the sky. High above the waves, Indian Navy P-8I surveillance planes create this massive 500-mile radar bubble, spotting threats long before they're even close. Then, down on the surface, you have guided missile destroyers and frigates forming a tight ring of steel around the tankers, basically a shield against any of those fast boat swarms. And finally, under the water, there's a constant, vigilant hunt going on. The advanced sonar on these warships is actively searching for those silent killers, the Iranian sea mines. It is a complete 360-degree shield, tailor-made for this exact threat.
But here's the crazy part. Protecting the ships was only half the battle. While the Indian Navy was carefully navigating a literal sea of mines, the rest of the world was trying to navigate a minefield of a different kind, a digital one, a calculated campaign of AI-driven deception designed to create maximum confusion at the moment of maximum tension. Get this, for 48 absolutely frantic hours, the world actually believed that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was dead, assassinated in an Iranian missile strike. And the proof? It was this disturbingly convincing deepfake video of a press conference. The only giveaway was a tiny AI glitch. It gave him 6 fingers on one hand. This thing just exploded online. It caused real panic in global markets and capitals around the world. And the reality? Netanyahu himself trolls the entire world by posting a video from a cafe, holding up his hands and joking, "I'm dead," for coffee. It's incredible. It just goes to show you, in 2026, a deepfake can be as powerful as a ballistic missile. It created a level of political chaos that could have easily blown up the very delicate diplomatic efforts to calm down the actual shooting war in the Gulf. And this conflict, it just refused to stay in its box. It wasn't just happening at sea or on the internet. It started to bleed outwards, igniting this multi-front shadow war. You know, a murky battlefield where nobody's sure who's doing what, and the risk of a catastrophic miscalculation is dangerously, dangerously high. I mean, this table right here just perfectly captures Iran's whole strategy. Plausible deniability. It's the playbook for modern hybrid warfare. You have Iranian state media claiming they immobilized an American aircraft carrier, the USS Abraham Lincoln. Hours later, the Pentagon drops crystal clear footage of it sailing at full steam. Or a swarm of 37 attack drones hit Saudi oil fields, and Iran's official line is, "Oh, that was unidentified actors." They are systematically testing the limits, poking and prodding, just to see exactly what they can get away with. And you can bet India's adversaries were watching. While India's strategic focus was completely locked on the Gulf, they saw an opportunity. Thousands of miles away, in the tense Uri sector along the line of control, security forces foiled a major infiltration attempt. And you know what? That timing is no coincidence. They're using the chaos in the region as cover to push militants across the border. It's this stark reminder that India is constantly fighting a two-front battle, securing its energy lifeline at sea and protecting its borders up in the mountains. So where does all this leave us? What does India's bold, independent action in the Gulf really mean? Well, this is way more than just one successful naval operation. This could very well be the blueprint for how other major powers navigate an increasingly chaotic and, well, multipolar world. And if you want proof, look no further than the successful escort of these two tankers, the Shivalik and the Nanda Devi. These ships brought home more than just 93,000 tons of essential fuel for homes and businesses. They brought home something much more powerful. They brought home undeniable proof that India's strategic autonomy, it's not some theory being debated in a think tank anymore. It is a real, functional, and decisive reality on the world stage. And this right here, this is the core takeaway. This is the new identity that India is carving out for itself, a net security provider for the entire region, a stabilizing power that, isn't looking for a fight, but is making it absolutely clear to everyone that it is more than capable of winning one if it has to. Look, this situation in the Persian Gulf remains incredibly tense, and we're going to keep tracking every single development in this new chapter of global security. So, to make sure you don't miss any of our updates, be sure to subscribe and turn on those notifications. Thanks for joining me for this one. Jai Hind.